Okay, Rhoda. Thank you ever so much for giving time to give us an interview for our Recovery Voices series. As I was just saying in the preamble, you're number 8 in the series, so we're really pleased that you've finding the time to talk to us. And you and I are going to have hopefully just a very natural conversation, because we've known each other for quite a long time, and we're going to start with that bit anyway. But the idea is to try and finish up with getting from you what you've learned over your time in working about what helps, what makes a difference, what supports families to make that sustained change. You know, we might call that recovery, but we can call it all sorts of things. But, you know, the change beyond the crisis moments in their lives, I think, you know, which is very often when people enter treatment or other key agencies, isn't it?
Yeah.
But let's go back to the beginning, because I recently caught up with you in person at Llandudno, and there were several other people there, and there was some exercising in my mind about how long had I known Rhoda, and where did all of that start. And I realise it started in 2 places. One place, interestingly, which people can hear about in our other interview with Tim Lighton, which will have started in some of those new direction spaces, but mostly this started through the work you were already doing by then in establishing Cardiff's Option 2 service, and of course I went and did some parallel work with you with the North Wales service, and we might come back to all of that. And so in my mind, considering it was you know, there was still a connection between an Neighbouring at Cais at that point in time, and I left Cais in 2005, and I'm not really sure. It's got to be at least about 2004, 2005. So it's nigh on 20 years is what I probably worked out, yes?
Yeah, it must be. I mean, Option 2, I eventually got the funding for that in 2000.
Okay, so that's 23 years ago. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it probably was. Yeah, and I was not far after you'd got up and running, working with the folk up here. So, and it was definitely in like I say, in the Neighbouring's watch while I was still at Cais. So, yeah, maybe it is 20 years then, 20, 21 years.
Yeah, at least. And you know, at that time, the field, especially the whole field, but the community field was like a family. You know, everybody who was developing, innovating in the community worked very closely together, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And we knew each other in a way in which I don't always feel I know everyone when I go to just conferences or forums or meetings, or when the government pull everyone in a room, anything like that. But there was a time when it felt like it was a smaller, like you say, a smaller community of people.
It was like family, and it was incredibly and importantly supportive for each other, because most of us were not following the normal or accepted kind of formula. And usually we were underfunded and struggling, and, you know, all of those things. So it formed a forum of support, didn't it? People who were like-minded about where we were going.
Yeah. And we will come on to it, but Option 2 was obviously the first place where you and I did a lot of work together. But obviously we've dripped in and out of each other's experiences since then, partly I guess because we're both always been Wales based, and that creates its own something else as a community, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
And then I suppose the other overlap for you and I has been that we are both social workers and have shared a lot of social work space, be that via the British Association of Social Workers, or I guess through just some of those kind of things, and your journey with the post-social services wellbeing act stuff, and ultimately, last but not least, very more recently, you very generously contributed the final chapter to a recent book on social work in Wales as well, which I had the pleasure to edit. So it's kind of weaved in and out, hasn't it, over a number of years? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we've crossed over in different places, but the fact that we are both social workers and have that perspective, and social services had always needed to understand their role in this, and they needed people who could champion the idea of how crucial they were, because it was always a kind of side specialist issue as it was seen. So we've worked very hard, haven't we? Both of us, to integrate that into the natural fabric of social work profession.